Hey, Internet!
Hello, Internet.
We are here.
Yes.
It's the last Dark Forces.
Welcome to
for now.
Welcome to the end of Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. Welcome to frame skips because XSplit doesn't tell me when it's losing frames.
Welcome back to Jedi Hobo Murderer.
Welcome back to Morality Chat. Morality in video games chat. So, if I may continue what I was saying last time.
Please do.
So the other end of the spectrum from morality choices having these big grand, super good or super evil is you get down, when you try and get down to more personal and individualized and like kind of into the nitty gritty, sometimes it doesn't always work. And anybody who's played the Old Republic has probably encountered a moral choice where they've wondered why a certain option is light side or dark side. To give you an example, on Ord Mantell, which is the starting planet for Trooper and Smuggler classes, there's a mission where you're asked by a medic to find some stolen medicine. The medic makes it clear that soldiers will die without this medicine. Like, this is medicine that they are relying on to save lives. The medicine was stolen by a woman to care for her sick child. At no point is it suggested that the child's condition is, like, imminently fatal. The dark side option is to give the medicine back to the soldiers, and the light side is to give it to the woman. And I really disagree. I am sympathetic to children. Don't get me wrong, but in what universe is like making a child feel a bit better good when the other option is saving the lives of people who would die otherwise?
It's one that's written in by people with a flaw in their morality structure, i.e. humans.
Right, I mean, and that's the issue, is that you get these very subjective views, and sometimes don't get me wrong, with stuff like SWTOR, sometimes I really like some of the light side, dark side options. Sometimes they're tough. Sometimes they're not, especially if you're playing as the Empire and you feel much more inclined to just kill someone who pisses you off, but
Star Wars is interesting in that not only is it a heavily moral choice based, universe, but that the universe itself actually like has a codified system of good and evil for for morality purposes, like the Force itself responds to
good or evil differently.
And evilness. Yeah, it's just always very interesting.
The thing that especially interests me about Star Wars that differentiates it from, say, D&D is that in D&D everything has a morality. And, it always affects, like, detect good affects any good person regardless of whether they're a paladin or they're just a good commoner. You detect them. But, like, in Star Wars, the Force only affects Jedi, as far as, like, the morality implications go. You don't, like, a just generically non-Force-powered evil person doesn't get yellow glowy eyes and suddenly mysterious dark impulses. Their dark impulses are just...
They don't grow horns and start, eating orphans.
Right. So you get this weird thing where, like, you get this weird thing where... Yeah, so you get this universe where a select of the people are sensitive to morality in a way where it affects them so much greater than the general population.
Yeah, and stuff like the Jedi code being, actually like repress your emotions, don't feel them is the correct way to be for a lightsider. Like that's insanity for a human being. Like that is actual insanity.
And that's why it's really interesting to me, and one thing I hope they do more with in the new EU like they did with the old EU is the idea that in the old EU, Luke, when he refounds the new Jedi or the New Order of Jedi, basically decides to kind of toss some of the dumber aspects of the Old Republic. Also, yes.
I'm sorry, Zach. We've solved the problem of what can stop
I was just thinking that.
That it's fucking flat. Because the thing about this, so the thing about this is it's a
the climactic finale.
Yeah, so the thing about this is it's a wall that slopes away from you.
Oh, that's so infuriating.
Yeah, I know, this is, and you can't just step over it.
That's really funny. Anyway, continue, Zach.
But one of the things... No, that's fair. That was pretty great. One of the things of... But yeah, it's just like one of the things that Luke does is Luke sort of tosses out some of the more terrible ideas of the Old Republic Jedi. Like, he basically decides Jedi are allowed attachments. He thinks, and it makes sense given his experiences, that your connections to the people you care about, power, that only serves the light side, even if there's a risk that, from the pain that losing those connections can happen.
Absolutely.
So yeah, also this is why I'm using Force Seeing, and this is also the only time in the game I will use the line rifle or whatever it's called. I can't remember now.
The rail rifle.
Yeah, the rail rifle. And it's because I have to fight. So you remember Kel Dragons from the first game?
Yeah.
You remember how we punched? Kel Dragons out in the first game?
Yes, we can't do that in this game.
You can't do that in this game. In fact, they take like 30 rockets to kill.
Yeah, holy shit.
Oh, and also, if you're wondering why I'm not shooting them with blasters, it's because their heads reflect blaster bolts.
Nice.
I assume that this is one of those
fucking like Cthulhu monster right here. This is some shit a DM made up to fuck with his players.
It's the dreaded gazebo. Internet, look up that story if you haven't heard it. Seriously.
Oh god, I love that story.
But I assume that the idea behind the section is that you're just supposed to avoid them and not kill them all.
Yeah, but they move really fast, and it's really easy to get caught on geometry, and they will just wreck the day. And I never need to use this gun again, so I don't.
Luke just decides, attachments are okay. He doesn't teach people to completely repress their emotions, though he does people that they should be in control of them and not, get carried away.
Right.
It's more like he basically Luke goes to more of like a Buddhist everything in moderation instead of like a Taoist asceticism. Like just pure asceticism.
Well, and there's an interesting, if the prequels had been filmed and shot and written better, there's a very interesting parallel you can show in the Star Wars movies about the Jedi discovering and realizing like the folly of separating themselves as people from just the Force. Like the Anakin Skywalker is punished for his attachments and falls because of them, and then literally the story of the original trilogy is Luke's friends and Luke's feelings for his father allow him to fully come into the Force and defeat the Emperor. Like,
yeah,
it's a cool parallel that you could put up and put emphasis on if you're not a terrible writer.
Right. Yeah, and I think if it would have drawn a little more attention to that if it was better written, because thematically it makes sense. The fall of the Old Republic and of the Jedi in particular is in a large part because of the Jedi being the few books I've read that take place in during that era make it a little more clear of just how much the Jedi suffer from kind of cutting themselves off and trying to remain this aloof, neutral party all the time. But you always get this kind of dichotomy too.
Also, can I interrupt? Yeah. This is a good discussion. I'm going to interrupt it for some nonsense. These
sure.
puzzles. So you see me hitting these button puzzles here. So there's no instruction how to do these. The first one, you have to hit the button 3 times and not push it again. This one, you have to hit the button 4 times, push it again, and then that will release it, and then you have to run through here. Now, there's no instruction for why any of this happens. And also, next to the button is a rope that you can cut with your lightsaber, and if you do that, you have lost the level.
Nice.
Because you need to push these buttons because the location of the doors moves counterweights in another part of the level, which you need to use as platforms.
So if you cut the rope, then you can't get through anymore.
If you cut the rope, then pushing the button does nothing. You can't traverse the rest of the level. Although you can cut this rope and still get through because there's another path.
Right, but I assume you're getting a secret by cutting that rope.
I thought I was, but the secret is somewhere else, I think. Then I can also ride, like, an air vent going out. So yeah, this part is, game design.
See, this would be... The thing is, and I think the issue is that the design of this isn't actually bad if you had more indication of what hitting things was doing what, and you had... You know, this is a thing that would have been great. A better map, for example, would have made this actually a really cool puzzle of, okay, I know I need to get here. It looks like I know there's these gaps here. It looks like I'm gonna have to move these things, hit the buttons, moves them.
Even like a small, like, cutaway showing, like, what is moving where when you hit a button would be useful, like...
Right.
Oh, shit! But I actually really do.
We're seeing.
I like this level. This whole area and its aesthetic is really cool, and I think it's been pretty sweet so far.
Yeah, we're seeing leftover game design now.
Nice.
Yeah, we're seeing what remains of the old like original Doom game design of wander around a level, try and find the exit, hit some buttons, and hope they do things that open
find
up
the key to find the key. Yeah.
Because they're on the other side of the level from the thing they affect.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna cost you a great load of money you don't have.
As long as I'm around to pay you, I don't care.
My sentiments exist.
Oh no, he wasn't a statue!
Oh, shit! Also, what he said didn't make any sense.
I can't abide this creature named Bok. He is one of the few that actually uses 2 lightsabers in battle. He is a crude individual that lacks both tact and teeth. Only a dark Jedi can he be.
So this guy is a pain in the ass because he just jumps around all the time. And he'll just jump around everywhere. But fortunately, if you use Force Persuade, he can't deflect any of your blaster fire. And so he'll just kind of slide around the stage, and you can just shoot him forever.
You can't. You're fighting a standard shooter player. There's just bunny hopping everywhere and trying to hit you. Truly the most.
And it's basically impossible to. It's basically impossible to fight him with a lightsaber because the lightsaber can't attack up. Also, he kept bunny hopping even after death.
Such
and
was
then he has
his
a heart
love
attack.
And he literally laughs until he's dead.
So yeah, that fight took a really stupidly long time to do.
Mm-hmm. That's silly.
Because I probably tried about 10 times to fight it the intended way. Now this last... so we're actually coming up on the final boss here. Woo! And this is actually sort of an interesting arena. Again, nothing in this is explained, you just kind of have to learn it. So, there's going to be a bunch of stuff I'm doing that doesn't... Oh yeah, there we go.
His heavy brow overshadows the empty recesses that normally embrace eyes.
Oh.
Jarek has the uncanny power to absorb and overshadow one's connection to the Force. Like a dark cloud. A deep, empowering grasp of your will is what you need.
That was cool.
So this is the fight that I will do in third person because otherwise I am going to die a billion times. You also notice that Jarek has a weird, like, Count Dooku angled lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
The duelist.
He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything with his style that would require that, or that would facilitate that. This is also the point in the game where I realize where I figure out how to use force protection.
Nice.
And it grants you some limited invincibility. It uses up pretty much all of your force power.
Doesn't it basically grant you protection from other force powers?
Yes, which I need to use because Jarek, in addition to his lightsaber, Jarek has Force Lightning, Force Choke, pretty much every dark side ability, and he will use them pretty much constantly if he's not just wailing on you with his lightsaber.
Relentlessly, he will use them.
Yeah, that's... I seem to remember reading about when I read about things in this game, it's just like you want force protection to turn on for boss fights, because they will have force powers that will wreck you otherwise.
Yeah, like, basically, like, Force Lightning, he can do it at will. There's no dodging it. You can't block it. You can't do, like, anything about it. Also, you notice I'm not using Force Persuade in this. That's because Jarek is the only boss in the game that is not affected by Force Persuade.
Oh, no. He cheeses you harder than you cheese yourself.
Yes.
I mean, they just said his force power overpowers that of others.
His force power is overwhelming, and on top of that, he's been meditating he's basically been bathing in force.
Big old force siphon. Yeah.
One short you too that since he apparently doesn't actually have any eyes, he doesn't use his eyes to see where you are. Therefore, you cannot fool his senses. Because he is just detecting you through the force, most likely.
You can't be invisible to him because he just senses out your force stuff. So now he's just kind of stuck up in the top of the tower, and I'm just waiting for him to come down because fighting him in an enclosed space is bad news.
Yeah, not the best idea.
So he has he has 3 different phases. They're all pretty much identical. But they're all heralded by him doing. By him doing the same thing. And you notice he just keeps even between lightsaber slashes, he is hitting me with more Force Lightning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's just bathing you in it.
Yeah, there's just. But fortunately, I think they realized this part was hard because they have an unlimited This is the thing I like because this is because this is kind of the main area of the Valley of the Jedi. They have light side surges and dark side surges. I'm guessing if you're a dark side Jedi. So since you're in the place where the Force, I guess, originates from or something, the game's never been very clear on how this place works or why. So because you're here in this focus, so here we go. So Jarek now will run back to the middle. You have to hurt him a lot because now he's gonna go to the middle of the map and just heal for a while, and he's invincible the whole time he does this.
Nice.
I guess that's your chance to go run around and pick up the stuff on the outside, yeah.
There's not a lot of stuff to pick up, but the other thing is, he starts moving these statues, and you have to use force speed to get to this place and hit buttons to keep these statues from moving to the middle. If the statues move to the middle, you lose.
Okay.
I did not know that my first time. Or really,
do they all have to hit the middle for you to use, or any of them?
Both. There's only 2. They move at the same time. So hitting, and you have to hit each button on each side will stop each statue.
Right, but I mean, do you game over if even one reaches the middle, or do they both have to before you game over?
I can't remember now if it's one. I think it has to be both, but if you're at the point where one of them has reached the middle, you're at the point where both of them are soon going to reach the middle.
I mean, yeah, if you know the trick, one's not going to be far behind the other, because you'll either be resetting them both or none at all.
Yeah. Also, he just hit me with the most powerful attack there, which is just called Force Destroy. Or Force Destruction. It's basically a fireball.
Oh, he just went into space. This game makes me really wish... Is there force push in this game? I forget.
Not in this game. There is in the second game. There we go.
Yeah.
So we just defeated Jarek.
When he's up there, I really just wanted you to force push him off the top and be like...
No, the expansion adds force push and force pull.
Nice.
I am defenseless. Strike me down, and
So I just realized he has a comb over.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten. I was the one who murdered your father.
No, I haven't.
And of course, it has to end with a classic samurai thing, because Star Wars.
Of course.
And then Jarek turns
Good
into
job.
gold dust.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, we broke the first Star Wars RPG I ever played in, which was long before with friends from Minnesota, long before I joined the podcast. I may have finished off the final boss by earning some dark side by force pushing him into lava. Because
Nice.
he killed the other PC, which was my mentor. He was actually the knight I was apprenticed to. So that was fun.
And then, using his lightsaber, Kyle carved statues to his father and to his ghost mentor.
Thank you, Father.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's how it ends. Just iris out. So my favorite thing is if at the end of this, if you kill Jarek and you have dark side points, let's see. Oh yeah, also no. There's actually just no music for the credits. This is just how the game ends. I didn't remove it. So if you kill Jarek with Darkseid, you haven't actually killed the second in command, the one with the blue lightsaber. I can't remember her name now. And you see Kyle Katarn actually kills Jarek, takes all of the power of the Darkseid, and actually ends up basically like he becomes the next emperor.
Nice.
And it goes to I'll probably put a link to like a master list of endings here, but it goes to him like sitting in the throne room and he's telling his second in command, you know, like, yes, go organize the stormtroopers, crush the rebellion. And then he pulls out this disc from this hollow disc or something from his father saying, "I'm so proud you joined the academy, son." And then, like, you see him look kind of distressed at it, and then he drops it on the floor and stomps it with his foot.
Nice.
And it's the one from the plays for some reason in the cantina in the beginning of the game, so that the game ends the way it began. Those are the non-canon endings to it because all of the sequels assume that you pick the light side ending.
Yeah,
it's word of Lucas that any Star Wars game with a dark side light side choice has to have the light side ending be canon. Like that was his decree outright. The light side ending is always canon because good always triumphs.
Yeah, and I mean that's for the most part that's not a bad way to go in fiction. People like the hero winning. That actually reminds me of a thing. Travis actually knows, like, I discovered Travis knows a lot of, like, trivia about Star Wars, and one of the things that he was saying was that, Lucas's original vision for how Anakin was supposed to bring balance to the Force, it was never put into the films because it seemed... So the thing that I've heard, and I have yet to actually read this independently and kind of verify it, so this is like third-hand information, but from what I've heard, the prophecy about Anakin fulfilling balance to the Force is that he would eventually become Vader, which would kind of inspire Luke to spoilers for Empire, I guess. He would become Vader, and that would inspire Luke to go and kill Vader and the Emperor, and then when they died, there would be no more dark side Force, and there would only be the light side.
Yeah, it's that his vision for it was that the dark side is completely eliminated, i.e. that's balanced somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, which
doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Well,
especially since
it's not very good.
The idea is the Jedi themselves are supposed to represent balance, not just light. They're supposed to represent like a balanced neutrality, kind of.
But that's bad. That's bad.
I mean, you could argue that. The EU seems to agree with you, seeing as that they move away from that post Return of the Jedi. As they basically establish that new order I was talking about, where you can have family and friends and loved ones and children, and it's not a problem. And though that does still occasionally cause issues with Darkseid, in particular the Solo family is really, really cursed in the EU.
They got a lot of problems.
It's
Also, caterer, what's cooking good looking? Thanks, Barbara Gleason. Thanks for marketing this game. She also wrote the manual, along with Joe Captain Trips Ashburn.
Doyle Gilstrap sounds like he belongs in a Star Wars universe.
There's also people in charge of package design and package art.
I'm sure these are just all the people that worked at the department that did the actual production design of the manual.
Brooding morale coordinator Jim Schafer. Because remember, this was still LucasArts.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, George.
I know you're watching this.
Yeah.
It's all you have left. All right.
And that's just how the game ends. It just dumps you back to the title screen.
Yep.
Fucking dumb. All right, well, hopefully the next one will be a little more enjoyable, and we'll see Kyle Katarn maybe fail? Maybe.
Stay tuned.
All right.
Good night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.
Good night.